Okay, so we'll move on to the last one for this time. Daeron II. His reign was from 184 to 209 AC. His aliases was Daeron the Good or Daeron the Falseborn. His father was Aegon Targaryen. Daeron II was the 12th king of Westeros. Where his father was mercurial, he was just. Where his father was spiteful, he was honorable. And where his father was a fool, he was anything but. A fortnight after learning of his father's death, Daeron departed Dragonstone for King's Landing. He chose to crown himself in his father's crown to quell the doubts of rumors about his parentage. Mindful of his duty to the realm, Daeron acted swiftly to right many of the wrongs of his father's reign. He replaced the small council with his own men, typically selecting wise and capable counselors. It took a year to repair the City Watch, whose officers were just as corrupt as Aegon had been. He did not undo his father's death wish, though, and even made sure that the marriage his father had planned between Daemon Blackfyre and Rohan of Tyrosh became reality. And when they did marry, he gifted his half-brother with a plot of land near the city. Daeron also negotiated the inclusion of Dorne into the Seven Kingdoms by promising his sister Daenerys to his good brother Mar Martell. On the completion of the negotiation, he and Meryn kneeled in front of Baelor the Blessed statue and said, "Your work is done." Yet Daemon was not content with his lot, and on the encouragement of his half-brother Bittersteel and several marcher lords, he chose in 193 to raise his banner, a black dragon, on a red field against his king and half-brother. Daemon died in the rebellion, and so did his two sons, and afterwards Bittersteel fled to with the rest of Daemon's sons, only to keep bugging the realm with an unlikely claim. Daeron, on the other hand, did not forgive his trespassers. He took a stern line towards them, and is known later on to take back lands and become much more of a strong-willed king towards his enemies. Well, that's what I have. I just have to add that to begin with, I had a bit of a problem finding out what I wanted to write about Daeron, because he is less interesting than the three before him. So I had kind of a writer's block from that. So I borrowed a little from the Wiki of Ice and Fire, if anybody recognized it. Okay, Paul.
All right. So I'll start out with the question, red or black?
Red or black? Black.
Red or black?
Red dragon.
I'm going to go with red.
Yeah.
Adam?
Dude,
Hannah?
Daemon Blackfyre is cool.
Yeah, he's cool, but he's not rightful king.
Exactly.
Well,
Red.
I'm pretty sure Aegon intended to, at some point, make him king.
But
So?
he didn't. He had plenty of opportunity and he did not.
No, he didn't, because the problem was Dorne. That's why he wanted to attack Dorne. Because
Well,
Some men just like to see the world burn.
Yeah, anything that Aegon might wanted to have done, I'm glad that nothing he did want done was done.
yeah, maybe.
Oh, we did not discuss his failed attempts to attack Dawn.
Yeah, I forgot that
Yeah.
too was in my notes.
And not to mention the fact that if Daemon becomes king, war with Dorne is more than possible, and even more people die without even guaranteeing that Dorne would be conquered.
Yep.
Yeah. It would still be cool.
Is Daemon really a dick other than
It'd still be cool.
rebellion?
That's not what.
No, it doesn't sound like he was much of a dick, but he hung around Aegor Bittersteel, that Bracken half-breed, and that's what made him a dick.
I mean, you could argue that Daeron is the bastard son of Aemon and Daenerys.
A better child to better parents.
But he's
I'm all
but
for
he's
it.
not. Aegon just made that up because he hated both Aemon and Daenerys.
Yeah. I'm definitely agreeing that Daeron is Aegon's child, because Aegon is the kind of guy to make up rumors about people who are supposed to be rightful.
Yeah, but they were in love. I mean, is that outside the realm of possibility that they would have had a tryst at some point?
Well, the singers say they were in love.
Yeah.
There's no definite, they were caught making out in the God's Wood as children. It was always, she wanted to be a septa.
And I think the songs say that they both wept during her wedding to Aegon. But the truth is that multiple times historians have written that Aegon and Aemon actually had an argument during the wedding. And Daenerys cried during the bedding, not in the actual wedding itself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like people just making up stories.
Yeah.
Well, I choose to believe that the story that confirms my belief.
Traitor.
You would.
No, I'm just saying that he's cooler. He just and yeah, I don't know. I think that Daemon
luckily
Blackfyre would have been a better.
Well, Daeron the dragon was a cool king, but that doesn't mean it didn't cause death and destruction for tens of thousands of people.
Daeron,
I don't want a cool king. I want a good one.
Daeron the
Luckily,
young
this
dragon
one was
was
called the good.
Daeron the young dragon was a self-absorbed teenager. That's a big difference between Daemon, who's actually a grown-up person with kids of his own, and that 17-year-old that just wants to get with chicks through war.
But still, he would have led
Who's willing to put
Dorne.
Who's willing to put an entire continent through war just because he wants to wear a crown?
Well, it was only after. Apparently, it was only after a lot of people, constantly, 9 years after any slight had been done towards him, he chose to it. So it's more or less just people constantly, reaffirming his belief that he might have been the rightful heir, until he is. His view of everything was construed.
See, I might have agreed with you if the king of Westeros at the time had been somebody like, say, Maegor the Cruel or Baelor the Blessed or somebody like Aegon the Unworthy or whatever. But this was a time when Daeron the Good was king, right? He had established peace with Dorne. He had not caused any offense to Daemon Blackfyre. In fact, he'd honored him in every way possible.
Yeah, he
And
gave
to-
him. Yeah,
Yeah, and
he gave him lands.
The reason against this king is just stupidity. I mean, it's not like you're saving the realm from anything. It's just you want a crown. So, yeah, a few people asked you to do it, but then they had self-interests. And if he was a grown man, he should have been sensible enough to see that. Like, he just...
Well, there was the small matter of Daenerys being wed off to Myra instead of him.
Well, again, it says that this only happened
That's the
8 years
singers.
after Daenerys was wed. So again, it was the singers who made up this romance.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's not completely discounted, because there was also this theory that Aegon might have promised Daenerys to Daemon.
No, but
the second wife.
Aegon had already. Oh, a second wife.
Yeah.
Well, then that's just nonsense.
yeah, that's Aegon the Unworthy's fault.
That's Aegon being Aegon the idiot again.
Yeah. So not Daemon's fault.
But he would be okay with a second wife.
Yeah,
so
because
it technically
he's a
is his
Targaryen,
fault as
or-
well.
Well, he's a Targaryen, so
He's a bastard. That's what he is.
He's a legitimate heir.
No, he's not. He's been legitimized, but...
Yeah. Which means
that he's now
legitimate.
Yeah, but he's still the younger brother to Daeron the Good.
Yeah.
Except that Daeron the Good isn't the kid of Aegon.
Are we back to that?
God, I wish that this has happened in real life and your family was brought low by your insufferable loyalty to this bastard.
Are you really wishing woe upon my family?
I wish woe upon your family name because you chose the wrong king.
I bite my thumb at these, sir.
Damn, son.
I challenge you to a trial of 7. Prepare.
Do not recognize you're 7.
Damn you, Northmen! And it kind of fits well because supposedly if the North wasn't under attack by wildlings at the time, a lot of people theorize that the North would have sided with Daemon Blackfyre because one of the Lord Starks was killed during the conquest of Dorne, and the sudden peace with Dorne would not have gone well with the Northmen.
So we're reenacting real.
Essentially, we should reenact
fictional.
We should reenact the Blackfyre rebellions with the Vassals of Kingsgrave. I actually found someone made a kind of Shakespeare-styled play around the Blackfyre Rebellion, and it's actually pretty all right. Let me see if I can find it. Well, you guys carry on.
Well, isn't it you that's supposed to do
I
this?
need to give you the question.
You carry on, dude. Just
carry on, man.
Whatever.
But who do you think was? How well do you think he at least governed? Not bringing in your bias towards the Blackfyres, but how good of a king do you think he actually was? Because like lemon cakes, we haven't done lemon cakes for him.
We can do lemon cakes.
I, of course, will give him a 4 out of 5.
Yep. Again, a solid 4 for Daeron. He is a good king.
He's weak. 3.
How was he weak?
He didn't.
You savage northerner.
He didn't. Keep Daemon as close as he should have.
But he did, and he tried to arrest him.
Literally gave him land along the Blackwater.
He has to keep him like almost a hostage if he knows that he's ending up to be like the real pretender. Yeah,
but he didn't need to because there was no evidence that this bastard would prove treacherous until 8 years had gone by. By then, the two had been on very good terms.
Other than that, his father constantly undermining his rule, and he giving Daemon the Blackfyre, and it's legitimizing him so that he has a claim. If people were to believe that he wasn't the trueborn son of Aegon, all those seeds have been sowed already. So why wouldn't he think that there might be something happening?
Because there wasn't until Aegor Bittersteel talked to Daemon about it. Daemon looked completely fine for 8 years.
There was rumblings long before, but he didn't decide finally upon it before 8 years after. That's true, but there's been there were rumblings before.
But if he had done anything, it would just have cemented Daemon's decision to rise up against his brother. I mean, if he'd made a move before, so he waited until Daemon decided to do something, and his spy network was strong enough for him to find out immediately, and he did send people to arrest Daemon before he could do anything, but he was tipped off. Daemon got tipped off, so he ran away. After the battle was done, he dealt very firmly with all the lords who had risen up along with Daemon.
You're saying that his way of doing it this was fine because of Bloodraven.
No.
Yeah,
Not because
you said
Bloodraven. I'm saying that he did keep certain checks in place, like he did establish a strong spy network,
which
so
was
that he would
Bloodraven.
know if Daemon would. Yeah, his spy happened to be Bloodraven.
But you're like, he was weak, and then we're like, well, they used Bloodraven to spy on people. You're like, whoa, let's not go that far.
I'm just saying that you put qualities upon this king, who should actually be put on Bloodraven. Like a lot of the good things that have been done also in the later rules did happen because of Bloodraven.
You're siding with Daemon because of Bittersteel, because Daemon wouldn't have rebelled if Bittersteel hadn't whispered to him.
I'm not siding because of that, because of course he did instigate it and did probably convince his brother to do it, but essentially it was happening anyways. People were constantly coming to him, telling him that they needed someone else that would actually do something against all these wicked Dornish people. I'm just saying that.
I'm actually angry right now.
In this situation, you're just saying that Daeron is good because he, by mere happenstance, had his brother.
No, not by mere happenstance. I'm saying because he appointed Bloodraven as one of his key advisors.
Well, Bloodraven.
Because he appointed the right person to the right.
Well, if Bloodraven wasn't there, he wouldn't have been able to get all this information.
And if Dana was actually properly locked in the Maiden Vault, Daemon wouldn't have been born. All these what ifs. You can't just say, what if this person never existed, though?
No, I'm not saying what...
Because other people...
I'm saying, but the thing is that he was wise enough to realize that Bloodraven was the right person for this job. That's the thing. That's what a king does. A king doesn't do everything himself. He appoints the right people so that they can do their jobs properly.
Yeah, but it's still...
but...
Bloodraven is still just the one who's, in a lot of the cases, also later on, the one who's essentially doing all the work for the kings. So I'm just saying that a lot of these things... It's like saying... that if you can't judge, for example, Baelor or whomever for all the good deeds they did, because a lot of these good deeds, if they were actually sound, were probably made by Viserys. I'm just saying that if some advisor proves to be the one who's constantly coming with all the good advice and there's no real, they prove to be more capable than maybe even the people they are advising, then maybe they should be the one who gets the good lemon cakes and not the king who appointed them, I would say.
See, but Bloodraven's job is not to his job is to provide information to the king, right? So then the king would order him to do something in return. He doesn't just make moves by his own.
He does.
He gets orders from the king.
Oh, but he does several times.
He spies on people.
No,
yes.
And how about the third Hedge Knight book?
Well, yeah.
Well, by then Daeron was dead.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he is known to do this. He's not just a spy. He is also.
But not in Daeron's reign. That was Aerys, and Aerys was he had no interest in ruling. He just wanted to read books all day, which is why Brynden had to do everything. Bloodraven.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
it's essentially just you can't be completely sure. Plus, Daeron was a bit boring, right?
No.
Yeah. Boring and good.
We just talked about how sad we are because so many books were burned in Baelor's reign, and Daeron was like, hell yeah, I'm disappointed he burned all those books. I love books. And he surrounded himself with great learned people, and he listened to the advice of women. I'm sorry we can't all worship a sexist like you do, but...
Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. You keep your religion, I keep mine. Nah. See, this is what people need to do when you make talking books. Something that provokes other people to say something that's actually either funny or entertaining.
Like having a bitter blood feud over the Blackfire Rebellion.
I'm sorry that you feel that this is a blood feud. If you want the feud, you can come to me. I'm not bothered.
I don't have a longship, though. How the hell am I supposed to get to you?
I don't know. Use one of your modern day technology things that you Americans probably have claimed to have invented.
That is true. We have invented a lot.
Mm-hmm. So great.
Anyway.
Let me see. Bitter steel. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Okay.
Filthy bracken.
I was very
Blood
aggressive
Raven.
about
Yay or
that.
nay?
I don't like bitter steel.
Blood Raven. Yay or nay?
Middle.
I would have to say yay.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a good spy.
he's pretty awesome. He does a lot of things for the realm that
I guess overall I'll say yay, but he's very heavy-handed when he ends up ruling by himself, essentially.
Yeah.
How about the Sea Star?
Oh, Shair Sea Star?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty cool, I guess.
And,
You mean Old Nan?
What? Old Nan?
You mean Old Nan?
Yeah, definitely Old Nan. And
Definitely
Quaith
Old
at the same time.
Oh my god.
Dum. She's the female version of Daeron Harris.
Oh my god, she is. She's everyone. She's Melisandre, Quaith, and Old Nan. Notice how we have never seen any of those people in the same room.
Yeah, same room. Okay, so who's left? There was one more.
Was there? I thought
Fireball.
we were all going
Quentin Ball.
Oh yeah, Fireball. I'm gonna say nay.
Okay.
Yeah, nah.
And I'm gonna agree with you on the reason that he probably left some kid with a whore that ended up having such a big hang up about who his father is that he essentially almost gets himself killed.
Yeah. I do like Quentin Ball. It's all right. He's an all right fella. All right.
Sure.